Welcome to Ladies of Another View on Back. I am Mary, and I'm visiting with Jan and Carmen. Or we're visiting. We're all visiting today. It's been a roller coaster of a day already, so we're just going to roll with it today as well.
Yep.
Right
Ups
on.
and downs.
But wasn't it a fun show yesterday?
It was
Gosh.
amazing.
I can't imagine to be here because I had so much fun watching it on TV. That was awesome.
It was so inspirational, just the music, just the meaning behind the music and the patriotism. And you find that in country stars, you know,
Yep.
it is. It's country music all the way. And like he said, you know, your faith, God, you know, freedom and patriotism. It's
Faith, family, freedom kind of thing, you know.
Yep,
Just
the F words that we can say right here on Back.
Yeah, that's right. That's not going to
Faith.
censor those.
That's right,
Yeah.
faith, family, and freedom. Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about freedom, or lack thereof. Down in Cuba, there are some huge protests going on, and they were shouting freedom, and now that's anti-government if you shout the word freedom.
Something wrong with that.
Yeah.
I think our Constitution kind of protects some of that stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, here we have that protection, but down there, you don't say freedom. That's taboo.
Not in
You're
that
supposed to look to the government for whatever freedom they want to give you from the way the way communism goes. You trust your government and nothing else, and it's supposed to take care of you. Well, looking at those people, they're starving, and they said that.
Right.
You know?
Here in North Dakota, you know, we think, oh, well, we're sitting here in Bismarck or somewhere else in the area. And, you know, what difference does it make if somebody's protesting and yelling freedom in some other country? But everything affects everything. You
Yes,
know?
it's a small world.
It very much is. You know, if they're having troubles there, I mean, we are connected. We export things to Cuba. So we have a financial interest in their prosperity, you know, and we are Americans and we like to help one another and we like to stand up for one another. So,
Amen. Amen.
Right.
you know, it all matters.
So it's kind of ironic. I'm still on Facebook, but a memory had popped up today, and it was something that I had shared over a year ago, and it was about Cuba, and it's about a Cuban immigrant who came over to the United States when he was 11. I want you to take a look at this.
In this table. Look at our backgrounds. Just think that in 1961, as a 13-year-old, by myself, in my way to Spain, I wasn't even coming here. I arrived in this great country, and almost 60 years later, I'm sitting next to the President of the United States, talking about the American dream. The only country in the world, no other country in the world, that you can start a business from the trunk of your car. And within a very few years, with hard work, commitment, and all the core values that we learn from this very culture of ours, we can become very important to our future. We can become those people who make the next generation better than the one before. This is the only country. Why do you think you had to close the borders? Because everybody in the world wants to come over here. Nobody's ever forced to come over here. We come over here, in my case, because my parents chose that I would not be indoctrinated by the communist country, by the totalitarian country, by the totalitarian regime. They don't educate children. Absolutely not. And this is something that we need to understand. What is happening in our backyard today, I experienced as an 11-year-old. I remember vividly all the promises that a guy named Castro gave and how 99% of the people swallow the pill. It took many years later, after I read somebody named Saul Alinsky, that I realized that all those people were nothing but useful idiots I remember Castro while in the mountains being interviewed and asked if he was a communist. He went crazy. I dare you, he says.
Right? So, I mean, how powerful is that? He made so many excellent points. Nobody's forcing anybody to come into this country. People want to come into this country. So that's what Cuba is fighting for. They have seen the freedoms that we have, and they want those same freedoms. And they're living through this now.
And seeing on the other newscasts and whatnot, just the Cuban community in Florida, in Miami, and how much they are right in sync with, it's almost like this is their people, you know. They may have even been born here, but they're so embedded in the culture and the trials of Cuba still. It's not that they don't love America, because they do, but they've still got family in Cuba, and all the things that they know are so wrong there, and it hurts their heart. You can just see it.
They're willing to jump on boats, take the 10-hour cruise over there to go protest with them.
Correct.
You know, look at how many Americans got all excited when Brexit was taking place. They're like, yeah, break away from the Queen, no more monarchy, you know. Break away from the groups, don't follow the leader. You know, we gotta all stand.
Right.
And so I want to show this other clip because the mayor of Miami, I believe it was, he is asking people to go over to Cuba to help right now. So take a look at this video.
Libertad, 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 libertad.
We want to shine a light on what's happening in Cuba right now. People are dying, people are getting beaten, and people are suffering, and they're starving. And this has been happening for far too long, with the international community ignoring what's happening in Cuba. The United States and the international community must do something now. They need to come together, similarly to how they came together to condemn the acts in Venezuela. The government of Cuba is an illegitimate government, is not a democratic government, and the people of Cuba are starving. They're in need of medicine, they're in need of international help, and frankly, unless the Cuban military or the Cuban police turns on the Cuban government, the Cuban people will continue to be repressed without any hope of freedom in the future.
So there are people that are willing to go ahead and take that trip over to Cuba through the ocean to go over there and help them. And keep in mind, there's no social media over there. Everything's been blacked out. So there's no reports coming in on social media. There's no contact from relatives like, hey, this is how bad it is, or this is how good it is, you know, for that matter. It's like it is blacked out.
Lucky to live where we do.
You bet. But you know, the other thing I found interesting, and I didn't delve any deeper, but the article I was reading was how our Coast Guard and our officials are stopping these people from going. They're not letting them take their boats. And I get it, the first night it was rainy and it was rough seas and things like that. But they said they stopped them because they had said they would bring firearms. And so then, you know, when they pulled that back, they said, we'll try again and we'll get permission.
All right, well, we're gonna have to go for right now, but that is a subject that we're going to touch on again. But coming up next, we're gonna talk a little bit about the COVID issues. That's next on Ladies of Another View on Back.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Calling all farmers. Join us Friday, July 16th for Farmers Night at the Bismarck Bucks. The Bucks take on the Frisco Fighters with a 6:05 p.m. kickoff, and we'll highlight our friends at Farm Rescue. Please visit bismarckbucks.com.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county. Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
I'm Rick Becker from No Apologies. Welcome to your after hours oasis of sanity. How can these people not see that they're just clowns?
We help simplify and educate you on things going on in the legislature and around the country.
Asking the hard-hitting questions.
But also having flea stack and Sid and Marty Croft stuff, and we've talked about that sometimes. It's bad.
Watch us weeknights at 9 Central on Beck News and online at beck.news.
Pub 21, your one stop for fun, drinks, and food. Our spacious facility provides COVID-safe fun for you and all your friends. With nightly bingo and specials, you can be sure there's something to do for everyone. If you're staying in for the night, we've got you covered just across the way with Pub 21 Liquor. We have a wide variety of options, from wine to whiskey and everything in between. Stop in today at 1014 South 12th Street in Bismarck to see what all the buzz is about. You won't be disappointed.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. You know, we're going to keep a close eye on Cuba because there's so much going on over there that the mainstream media isn't necessarily telling us about either. So we've got to stay on top of that just to keep our viewers aware of what's going on and what could possibly happen here. You hate to say that, but you know, communism is it's knocking on our door. It's
Yes.
knocking on our door. You know, starts with socialism and it leads to communism. So there it is. But boy, that's a hard road to go down. But we're going to talk a little bit about COVID because there's so much. I mean, we've talked about it for months, but there's so much new information coming out. There's like
all the time.
Every day is different, it seems. Now we have not just the Delta variant, but the Lambda. Is it the Lambda variant? I thought I was back in college sorority again with all these Deltas and Lambdas and Pi Chi Psis and whatever. But we're on to new variants. And then they found one gal in Belgium. I think she died of 2 variants. So they're sure she caught it from 2 different people. And so there's just so many things. Yeah. Oh, I know. It's crazy. But right now, Pfizer is seeking an FDA approval for a booster. But then the CDC and I'll read this to you. What can be done differently under full approval? Because the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines were only given the emergency use authorization. They cannot be used once COVID-19 is no longer deemed a public health emergency. Full approval will allow vaccine companies to keep their shots on the market post-pandemic. So they're searching for that full approval as well as a booster.
It's all about the money.
It's all about the money. And so here's something interesting, you guys. When I was trying to do some research for some of these booster shots and vaccines, pop this up. It is two of the search results that I came up with were both related to finances. Pfizer seeks approval for vaccine, that's on the NASDAQ. Pfizer seeks approval for vaccine booster, that's on finance.yahoo. So, and that could be just my algorithm is what I was told because they did test it here too. So I challenge you viewers to go ahead and just put in that phrase, Pfizer seeks U.S. approval for vaccine booster shot, because that's what I was looking for. And it's all about the money. You just follow the money.
You know, when I was looking up information for this segment, I came across an interview with Dr. David Martin, and he was doing an interview with Rainer, and it's a German name, and I apologize if I crucify it, but Fulmick, I believe it is. And they went down the road of finding out when everything took place that led up to this whole pandemic. and they've gone back as far as 1999 and talked about all of the different patents that have been applied for and gained or granted, and it has to do with all the different components of what they have now deemed as SARS-CoV-2 coronavirus. From the information that I garnered from this interview, he states that this is not only should not be a pandemic. He said this is not novel, which means it's not new. These are all things that have already been established and patented, and you can't patent something that is of nature. It has to be something that can be reproduced or man-made. So all of these things have been known for a long time. There's over 73 patents on all the components that they're calling novel. 73 of them, and they go back as far as, you know, the late 1990s, early 2000s. And in 2002, the NIAID, under the direction of Anthony Fauci, they built an infectious replication defective coronavirus that was specifically made to target human lung epithelium. Okay, that means that was in 2002, April 19th,
Wow,
2002.
19 years ago.
That's a long time. And if you want to look it up, the patent number for all of this is 7279327.
So read that again.
The patent number, it's a U.S. patent. It is 7279327. And it makes it look as though we made SARS and patented it before there was ever a disease or an outbreak. And just boggles the mind. That, you know, in the news, you hear all these different medical reports. They talk about the ACE receptor, the ACE2 binding domain, the S1 spike protein that everybody's so afraid of and everything, and all the other elements of this pathogen. It shows that they were not only engineered, but could be modified in a laboratory by just using computer algorithms or that type of technology. So I'm not saying that I have this all down and that I know this is 100% fact. I'm saying that this was the research that I came across when I was trying to find out more for this segment. And it just makes it so frustrating to think that this is even a possibility, because then it would mean that it's all about the numbers. And there is a gentleman that's often associated with Dr. Fauci, and it's Peter Daszak of EcoHealth Alliance. In February 12th of 2016, it was stated in the press, they quoted him as saying, "We need to increase public understanding of the need for medical countermeasures such as a pan-coronavirus vaccine. A key driver is the media, and the economics will follow the hype." Does any of this sound familiar?
Wow.
"We need to use that hype to our advantage to get to the real issues. Investors will respond if they see profit at the end of this process." That makes it all the more clear to me that even if this is not 100% connected, that everything that's happening since with all of these second boosters, third boosters, Delta variants, and you know all of these different things that sound like we're in college again, it just makes it all sound so evil.
It is, you know, and getting back to the original about the finances, they stand, just Pfizer alone stands to make $26 million on the booster.
Just the booster.
Just Pfizer, one company. And so what they're trying to do too is they're trying to get FDA approval, you know, to get it out of the emergency use. They want it to be a regular use, and that's where the money's going to come in as well. And right now, there's issues with some diseases popping up that they could be related. Well, we know they're related, right? They're trying to hide all that, but it all boils down to follow the money. Follow the money, and you get a lot of the answers, and that's the scary part.
Well, 1.2 billion of your U.S. tax dollars were used to purchase 300 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine, and that's to be delivered here at the end of September. So where are those going? That's enough to vaccinate everybody in the country.
Wow.
With just that brand.
Well, and they're also saying that some of the companies now are going to make it mandatory. Once it gets full FDA approval, companies are going to make it mandatory. If you want to keep your job, you have to be vaccinated. So there is just, you know, we've got to crack this open. We've got to get to the bottom of it before it's too late. Right. And it takes all of us together to do that.
You bet. And so now the government is telling us as citizens that you are mandated. It is no longer your body, your choice. You're going to do what we say or else.
Right.
That is not freedom. That is not liberty. That is not America.
Nuremberg Code.
Okay,
Yeah.
so ladies, we're going to have to pick this up after the break. We've got so much more to talk about and tell you guys all about because there's more research that we have done. That's coming up next, right here on Ladies of Another View on Back.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Go for Launch 2018 series winner. Without further ado, it is my honors. Regina. The winning team is the Flumin River Excellent.
Oh my God!
They won!
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm gonna pass the savings directly on to you. For example, you get my 6-piece towel sets, regular $109.99, now only $44.98, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Ever been in a cave before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the car! How will we? The car! Your offer has been accepted. Ever bought a house before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the closing. But how will we? The closing!
Hey everybody, I'm Doug Billings, your host of The Right Side with Doug Billings on Beck News. We bring you high-profile guests, ladies and gentlemen, exclusive guests. Now, you're not going to see these guests in most of the mainstream media outlets. Another thing that I do here is give guests a platform to speak freely. You're not going to see me censor anybody. Please join us, won't you? Weeknights right here on Beck TV and online at beck.news. Cheers.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. We're going to pick up where we left off talking about COVID and the vaccine. You know, again, because it's constantly changing. Everything is changing. But, you know, they're trying to get full approval, and they're saying it's going to take about 10 months to get the full approval. But it says that when it's unapproved in an emergency, okay, so they use it in an emergency to diagnose, treat, or prevent serious life-threatening diseases. All right, that's how they use it when it's unapproved. But once it's approved, a vaccine generally needs to have the FDA approved before the public can receive it. But the COVID-19 is considered a public health emergency. Vaccine manufacturers chose to submit a request for the emergency use. And so that's where the difference is. But once it is fully approved, then they can go ahead and sell it constantly, and then they also put advertising out on TV. And then when
wonderful.
you know, and I didn't watch all of that. Markle, what was her first name? The princess of Harry's wife. Whatever. Hate to say her name. But anyway, the people over in England, they were so surprised that all of our commercials during that program, or the majority of the commercials, they were all
from drug
drug companies. And it's like they don't have drug company commercials over in Europe. And so that's what was so surprising. They just kind of laughed at us. But that's where a lot of it is. It's money. And then who goes ahead and pays lobbyists over in D.C., right? It's
There you
all, you just follow
pharmaceutical
the money.
industry.
The pharmaceutical industry is huge, and it is driving the American economy.
So Pfizer is agreed to put a warning on their label.
Oh, yes.
Which nobody reads the label. You know, they have all of these drive up, get a shot, and, you know, stick around long enough so we can see if it's going to kill you or make you faint or whatever. But now they have, 100 cases of Guillain-Barré syndrome? And that's kind of like, almost like an autoimmune reaction where your body starts to attack the nerves in your system, and people are paralyzed, or, you know, one half of their body doesn't work. You know, it starts out looking like Bell's palsy and ends up throughout your body. I mean, and if they're willing, and this kind of is almost frightening, if they are willing to put a warning label on their product with what they say are only 100 cases reported, number one, you know that there's a lot more than 100 cases reported.
That's just the ones reported.
Well, just like the VAERS reports, you know, there's been more reports to the VAERS, which is the Vaccine Adverse Effects Reporting, that the public can do, and then we as taxpayers can pay them if their claims are validated. There's been more of those claims since the beginning of this year than there has in the whole history of it since 1986.
Wow.
Just from January until now. And I'm sorry I don't have the numbers to quote, but we're in between 4,000 and 6,000 for this year.
And that's just, and they're saying what, less than 1% report? Or
That's the guess, because, you know, how many people go home and they have a milder version of what somebody else said they had, so they don't report it. That doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Right. I have a brother-in-law who fainted on the side of the road, rolled into the ditch. His wife, my sister, thought he had passed, and a motorist came along and helped revive him and got him to ER, and he had it was a reaction from his COVID shot. So
The thing that really is puzzling to me is that when you look up it's been changed, so, you know, you can't look up the same thing anymore, ever changing, but the description of a vaccine is that it is a pharmaceutical product that will help prevent a disease. This does no such thing. In fact, some people that get the shot get the disease.
So, but such a milder form of it.
Right. Milder form, how can you tell that? I mean, I had some kind of scourge in January. I don't know what it is because I did not go get tested. But all of the symptoms line up as influenza A, which it probably was, although I couldn't taste anything for a day and I couldn't smell anything for a couple days, so could have been associated, but my husband never got it. We were in the same household, slept in the same place. You can't tell me. I'm sorry.
No, and my sister didn't get it either.
Me. Yeah.
My sister didn't get it either.
So.
Well, in that Guillain-Barré, the article that I was reading, it said, but, you know, maybe, just maybe, but, you know, only 4 to 7% of people really die from it. So most of them, within 6 months, some of them can even walk again. It's like, really? And we're supposed to just say, great, yeah.
And so the Guillain-Barré, it's a disorder where the immune system attacks the nerves. It's a very rare complication known to occur after many different types of infections and vaccinations, including the annual flu shot and pneumococcal vaccine. The immune system accidentally attacks particles within the vaccine and ends up attacking the nervous system too, leading to a sudden onset of tingling and numbness.
Doesn't that sound delightful?
I know
Go get your shot.
a very lovely lady who is 90 years old, and she has not had a shot since 1955. That was the last time she had a flu shot because she got so extremely sick, thought she was going to die. And so she has not had a flu shot since 1955, and she's doing just fine, has not got COVID, although some family members have gotten COVID. She has not gotten COVID, and she's living, breathing, walking, and living to tell about it. but yet scared to death because you don't know if and when you're going to catch it. They have the public, the general public, so frightened with the fear tactics. That's the scary part of this entire I don't even know what to call it, fiasco.
Yeah.
I wonder what would happen if the people of America stood up when they were going through their hearings or whatever the process is to get this fully approved, and went in front of the FDA or whoever and said, okay, right now, you are going to make ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine available to anyone and everyone who wants it. Automatically, the doctors will prescribe it, just like you're telling them automatically they need to just tell you to go to the emergency room if you get worse, but we're not going to prescribe anything to help you. I mean, that's what's coming down from the administrators of healthcare. So I think as the people of America start more and more have, we're awake, and it's like, okay, but we can't have anything except the vaccine. That's what you're telling us. And then you're telling us we still need to mask and we still need to distance and we still can't go about our lives normally because it's really not going to protect us. What in the world? And we're supposed to just buy it, lock, stock, and barrel. I can't even wrap my brain around where is the common sense in any of this. It doesn't make sense.
Right. And it does sound like there's a lot of doctors that have been standing up. Like initially they were all being fired,
Right.
et cetera. There's a group of doctors it's getting stronger and bigger, and their voices are now starting to be heard. And it's about time, because if they get full approval, they say it's going to take about 10 months. We've got to stop this madness before the end of this 10 months.
Like a friend of mine said, I can take off my tinfoil hat, but you can't get unvaccinated.
That's right.
There you go. I like that.
Amen
So many
to
good
that.
sayings this week.
Yeah.
Like the sky is falling,
Yes,
right?
totally.
Dean Martin takes a sip and he says, let me know when it lands. Right?
On FDAnews.com, they said, we're here to simplify global compliance. That was one of the most frightening comments I read all day. Compliance, people.
Global compliance.
Yeah, this is not about, down the street.
Right.
Do you
right.
notice how all of a sudden you hear more and more global things? And
Yes.
it's not about, well, they're a democracy, well, they're socialist, well, they're this, they're that. That doesn't even come into the conversation. It's just a global awareness, a global movement, a
Global monetary system.
Yes, yes, let's go there.
Well, one
yeah.
world government, that's what they've been, talking about for years, and everybody said,
Not
oh, that would
happening.
never happen, never happen.
Not on my street.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So these are things that we just need to stay vigilant about, and stand up and speak up. Even if you're going to get into an argument or lose a friendship over it or a family member, you have got to stand up for what is right, or we don't know where we're going to end up, but stand up. If one person stands up, boom, it's a ripple effect. Everybody can do it.
Be the ripple.
Be the ripple.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh gosh, so many ripples today.
Yeah.
But yesterday was so much fun. We're still kind of coming off our high from yesterday with Keith Burns here. That was entertaining. And, he gave us inspiration, too, that it's about, faith, God, and country. We all know the end of the story. So why sit here and be afraid and be worried about it? If you believe in the good Lord, we all know the ending. So you just have to, live Christ-like and what God would want you to do, and just lead a good life, and we're all going to hopefully end up in the same place.
Right.
But we got so much more to talk about when we come back, but we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in Texas, because we need to know that too. That's coming up next right here on Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Since opening in Hebron in 1940, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your hometown bank. Our mission has been to provide modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. We've grown with the communities we serve through year-round events, countless sponsorships, and nearly 7,000 hours of volunteering each year. Learn more about our 80-year history at dakotacommunitybank.com.
Hop in the rig and go down the road with me. We'll cover local and national stories that impact you. Down the Road with Joel Heitkamp weekdays at 5:30 Central on Beck News and online at beck.news.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got my pillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm going to pass the savings directly on to you. Go to MyPillow.com right now to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. For example, you can get my premium MyPillows, regularly $69.98, now just $29.98, the lowest price ever.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. You know, sometimes I wish you guys could watch us during the commercial because that's when, you know, we get a lot of nuts and bolts that we talk about. But Jan, before we move on to our next topic, tell us what you told us on the break about the new...
Well, in part of this video series I was watching, they were talking about that phrase. Everybody's heard it in the regular media. They call it the new normal. We have to get used to doing things the way that we're going to do them now versus how you always used to live your life. And that phrase, the new normal, was actually coined by one of the pharmaceutical companies back in 2006. And then if you look back to what Klaus Schwab has been saying, you know, in the economic summits over in Europe, all of these things seem to have had a playbook. I don't know what else to call it. In 2015, coronavirus was named as a bioweapon. Where does that put us in this whole scheme of things? If we're talking money issues and we're talking about viruses being patented and vaccines having patents and looking for full approval so that they can be marketed just like you get your little blue pills marketed on TV and every other pharmaceutical product that has a bigger list of side effects than it does benefits, but we all listen to it because it has the really cool music in the background, and there's these people walking and feeding the ducks.
Joyfully.
And it just, they're brainwashing you people. And I don't mean you, I mean all of us.
Us, Americans.
Us as a public. Mm-hmm. You know, you go overseas, like you said, you don't see those commercials. Mm-hmm. You go overseas, they don't let them put GMOs in their products. You go overseas and they outlaw Monsanto in their agricultural products. There's a reason. People that are ill here from the food that they eat can go over there and eat it and have no digestive problems. They come back home and they go back to their regular diet and they're ill. There's things at play. There's dollars at play. And we just have to connect the dots.
We do.
Right.
And so that's what we're hoping to help in
Yes,
that
exactly.
course. But let's hop over to Texas now.
Oh boy.
All right, so the Texas governor, there's a bill regarding, you know, to make voting great again, shall we say?
Yeah, there you go.
So that make every vote counts. But the Democrats don't want to follow this bill that's in the Texas legislature right now. So about 50 of them got on a plane, and left the state so that this GOP-led bill doesn't, there's not enough people to vote on it to meet quorum. And so then the Texas governor said, you know what, when they come back, I'm going to arrest them. They're going to be put back in the Capitol, and they're going to stay there until all of the votes are completed. If that's the game they want to play, you know, he can play it too. I don't know that he can do that, but interesting times. You know, they just want to have a safe, fair election, and the Democrats don't want that to happen. They say that it's unfair by having a fair election, and that's the part that I don't understand.
That's going on all around the country, though. When you think about it, you know, they're doing election audits in a lot of states now. Some states that we thought they would never happen in, and they're demanding them now. And we need to demand them in this state as well, because if something is so pure and so perfect, then they shouldn't mind us looking at it. Correct?
Exactly. And they can come up with thousands of dollars on a whim for this study or that study. Why not? Just to go through and make sure that North Dakota's election was absolutely 100% wonderful.
Yes.
You know, and just make it a regular audit and let the people see it, and then everybody can just be quiet about it. You know, it's proven now. And so why not? You just got to wonder, why not? On every state, why wouldn't you want it? I don't care who won. Why wouldn't you want it?
And the Texas people have to be just cringing because they spent money for a special session to call all these people back into session, and then they play like, I'm going to take my bat and ball and go home because I don't like what I see.
Well, this is what they had said. The cross-country exodus was the second time that the Democratic lawmakers have staged a walkout on the voting overhaul, a measure of their fierce opposition to proposals that they say will make it harder for young people, people of color, and people with disabilities to vote. You know, a lot of these people that they are trying to get to the voting machine, I mean, you hate to say it, they don't care. Even when I was in college, I wasn't that passionate about who the president was. I didn't really pay that much attention to it. So what's happening is one side of the party, or our two parties that we have, basically our two strong parties, they want all of these people to go out and vote. But these people don't care who the president is in that sense. But those are the ones that are going to be voting for your next president. And so, you know, win, lose, or draw, some people will never get out of the situation that they're in. But the Democrats, and when I say Democrats, let's just say the far left, because there's many great Democrats, I will say that. But the very far left wants everyone, you know, whether they just get out of prison or they even want prisoners to vote. Those that are incarcerated with a felony, they're not supposed to have the right to vote. They want them to be able to vote. They want everybody to vote, even those that don't care about what the outcome is. And that's the scary part. You have to have a vested interest in your country to really appreciate how your vote counts.
And you have those people that maybe have a hard time getting to the polls or whatever. And I know it's been proposed that you prove your disability, not like COVID where they declared everything, yeah, you got to stay home, we're going to give you mail-in ballots, that's it. I mean, that was the big rig up, whatever. But some of these people who can't get to the polls, I get it, but they can still register with the state to have their ID on record. They can still get that ballot mailed to them, if, you know, all those things. And instead of talking like that, it's like, oh, well, you're suppressing the vote. Those same people had to get registered on the system if they are in need to get their SNAP benefits, to get their Medicare, to get their Medicaid, to get all of those government programs. They had to prove their identity. But when it comes to the voting process, they shouldn't have to. That makes no sense. Even felons have to prove their identity for some of the things that they go through, and you don't to vote.
Well, see, and there's a meme going around right now too that it's like, okay, well, you have to every tweet and every Facebook post, every social media post has to be fact checked before you can post it. But by golly, we don't have to check an ID for you to be able to vote. Now that is just crazy. I'm sorry, that's just crazy talk.
Yep. But how do they say that this is going against people of color?
Well, that to me is a racist statement right there.
Well,
Absolutely.
it is, because it's
I don't
supposing,
understand it.
It's supposing that all the white people have means of transportation and the poor black people don't.
Well, they're lumping
everybody,
everyone of one color into one bucket.
And they are elevating one race to belittle another race, and yet they're saying they're doing it in the name of equality. It's like, no, you're not. You are purposely trying to divide this nation by color of skin. That is what's going on. We're regressing how many years in our development of having equal everything for everybody.
But it's not equal, it's equity. See, there's a difference between equality and equity. Equality means everybody gets a chance. Equity means everybody gets the same thing.
Yeah,
That's not the same.
Yeah, they don't promise equal outcomes. It's just equal opportunity. And
Yes.
that's what America has striven for since it was created. And we're not perfect. We never have been. We never will be. We're human beings. However, we've striven. What would that word be? We have worked toward.
We have made great strides.
Yeah, and we've worked toward having that equal playing field our whole existence. And now we're taking that and saying, okay, you're up here, you're down here. You're being exploited. You are a victim. Now we got a movement.
Yep.
And that's why I will continue to say, stop idolizing victimhood. It's killing us.
Truly.
It truly is. I don't care how much money you have, you can still be in the victimhood category. And it's not right. It's just not.
You know, we met those gals down in Dallas. What was her name? Emberlyn? The gal
boy.
that she painted over the Black Lives Matter that was in front of Trump Towers. And anyway, she did promise to come on our show. So that just makes me more, gives me
Excited
more
to
drive to
contact.
go ahead and get a hold of her. But we got so much more to talk about. We're not going to solve every problem today, that's for
That's
sure.
right, that's
although
right.
we would like to.
Yep.
But we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and leave you with our lighter side. And we'll be back right after these messages on Ladies of Another View on Back.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Deciding how to promote your business can be hard. Visit the professionals at Dakota Promotions and Printing and let them help you through your struggle. Dakota Promotions provides promotional items and apparel from corporate gifts to team shirts and everything in between. With quick turnaround times and friendly service, they are your best choice. And best yet, you're shopping local. Visit them online at dakotapromo.com or stop in their showroom at 320 West Main in Mandan. Dakota Promotions, delivering promotions just for you.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to pull them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
Calling all farmers. Join us Friday, July 16th for Farmers Night at the Bismarck Bucks. The Bucks take on the Frisco Fighters with a 6:05 p.m. kickoff, and will highlight our friends at Farm Rescue as we help raise money to support our farmers around the region. For more information on tickets, please visit bismarckbucks.com. Get your free general admission tickets today.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on back. You know, I saw that ad for Carrington. Okay, I get to do that one. I'm so looking forward to it because, you know, just as a kid driving by that Big Chief Cafe and the Big Chieftain Convention Center, I mean, it's just a landmark right here in North Dakota. Now, a few years ago, some people were trying to get it tore down. That was right after the DAPL protests, and it's like, and that thing, it's kind of gone away. But, you know, people from out of the area come in and try to tear down part of our history. That's, you know, what gives them the right to do that? How can they do that? It just isn't right. Yeah. But that's not what our lighter side is about today.
That's right.
It just kind of triggered me because I'm so looking forward to it. First of all, tomorrow is New Salem. And Patty's on location for that one, but I get to do Carrington, and I think after that we're going to have Valley City, and then Hazen, and who else, or who knows where else. But those are kind of some of our favorite things to do, are those my hometowns, because you learn so much about the history, and you know there might be a unique character that lives in the area, someone famous, all kinds of things. I guess there was a Viking football player that is from the Carrington area, so I'll have to brush up on my Viking history. But we're going to jump into our lighter side, and I want you to take a look at this little note. When my kids were in elementary school, they had to do this 100 days, at the 100th day of school. So this child, and we don't know who this person is, but she goes, when I am 100 years old, when I turn 100 years old, I will be tired of everything and everyone. So I will tell everyone I'm going to Canada, but actually go to the Bahamas. I'll live in a tiny hut with my tiny dog. I will order fish tacos when I'm hungry and live my best life with no crap.
Amen, Emma.
Yeah,
go girl.
Emma. Yeah. Amen, Emma is right. It's like, you know, wouldn't we all like to kind of get away like that sometime, you know, just the hectic, the hubbub, and especially this last year with COVID, everyone is just kind of torn in so many different directions that it's nice to see that these kids, they get it, they understand it.
Yep, you bet.
You know, I posted a meme on Facebook recently, and it says, I'm trying to create a life that I don't need to take a vacation from.
Amen.
Yeah. And that little note from Emma there, that exactly is kind of a representation of that. Yeah. You know, and I my grandkids, they come up with some of the cutest things all the time. But I think when I look back, I think that I was never going to say anything to my kids that my parents said to me, but I find myself doing it all the time. And I found myself doing it when I was much younger than I thought. You know, even my granddaughter, my youngest granddaughter, is only 2.5, and she speaks to the dog as though she's yelling at the kids. She gives the dog all the kids' middle names and everything when she yells at it. The dog's name is Lola, and her middle name is Persephone Jean. So she says, Lola Persephone Jean, get over here.
Yeah, we always knew we were in trouble when the parents whip out the middle names.
The more names you have, the more trouble you're in.
In fact, my brother, his name is Robert, and his middle name is Stephen. And I don't know how Mother came up with this, but anyway, Robert, Stephen, Aloysius, Paul, Hoff. And it's like, holy buckets.
Where did that come from?
And those aren't even his like confirmation names or anything.
Oh.
And so, hey, but we knew when she named 4 first names that he didn't even own, he was in trouble.
Yeah. Yep. And you know, you look at those little ones, and sometimes, you know, Art Linkletter, it was a gem every time his show would come on, and he'd have these little kids, and you'd ask them questions, and they're so fresh from God. They don't have all the filters and all the, you know, political correctness and stuff, and they can come with the biggest chunks of wisdom just by, and it's funny, but it's real.
They're spot on.
Yeah, they are. They are. And it's like, how did you know that?
Yeah, they have more intuition than what we like to believe. And they are like sponges, too. So we do have to be careful about how we speak, or if it's a matter that maybe the kids don't need to hear, you know, they're soaking that up. They whether you know it or not, they are listening to that.
Well, that puts the responsibility back on us as parents.
Yes.
You know, we need to be their filter. We need to make sure that what's going in is as good as what we want to come out.
Right.
You know, that garbage in, garbage out thing was said for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we just have maybe a minute and a half left, but I want to, you know, we get emails and mails and phone calls and texts from some of our viewers, but I wanted to read this one on air. And it was sent to one of our fellow team members here in the Beck building. Hello, Mr. Leck. This is a letter regarding some of the programs that I watch and enjoy. The Right Side, Ladies of Another View, and Dr. Rick Becker's program. And of course, that's no apologies with Rick Becker, or with Becker. I am so happy to be able to watch them and have told all my friends. Thank you very much. Sincerely, Jane Moss Summers. And so we want to thank you, Jane, for being such a loyal viewer and sharing that you enjoy our show with your friends. We really appreciate that because our viewership has really gone up, and without you guys spreading the word, our show won't be seen as much. But we're in 40 different countries already, so it's growing. It is. I mean, it's there. So if there's anything you want us to talk about, you let us know. But we're going to have to say goodbye for now. Wait a minute. I have an extra minute, don't I?
You do.
I have an
Use
extra minute.
that.
Well, we have 30 seconds. Sorry, our timing got off because a couple of our segments went a little bit longer. Any words of wisdom for the 30 seconds?
As soon as you speak up, someone else will not be as afraid to do the same.
Amen.
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 Amen
Yep.
to that.
Just
Yep.
go out and enjoy each other and speak the truth. Just go ahead and share the knowledge that you learn, and don't be afraid to speak up. And I guess that's what we have today. But tomorrow you get to check out what's going on in New Salem. So that's next time. But we'll see you later for now on Ladies of Another View on Beck.